Good day, this is the Professor, CBMD PhD, and today is Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. It is 7:27 and 14 seconds p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today's research, lymph nodes. So let's hop to it here. Can lymph nodes boost the success of cancer immunotherapy? Date March 20th, 2023. Source: University of California. As cancer treatment routinely involves taking out lymph nodes near the tumor in case they contain metastatic cancer cells, but new findings from a clinical trial show that immunotherapy can activate tumor-fighting T cells and nearby lymph nodes. The study published March 16, 2023, in Cell suggests that leaving lymph nodes intact until after immunotherapy to boost efficacy against solid tumors, only a small fraction of which currently respond to these newer types of treatments. Most immunotherapies are aimed at only reinvigorating T cells in the tumor, where they often become exhausted battling the tumor's cancer cells. But the new research shows that allowing the treatment to activate the immune response of the lymph nodes as well as can play an important role in driving positive response to immunotherapy. Lymph nodes are often removed because they are typically the first place metastatic cancer cells appear, and without surgery it can be difficult to determine whether the nodes contain metastasis. Immunotherapy is designed to jumpstart the immune response, but when we take out nearby lymph nodes before treatment, we are essentially removing the key locations where T cells live and can be activated, noting that the evidence supporting the removal of lymph nodes is from older studies that predate the use of today's immunotherapies. Researchers have largely been working under the assumption that cancer immunotherapy works by stimulating the immune cells within the tumor. Researchers showed that immunotherapy drugs are actually activating the lymph nodes. That study changed the understanding of how these therapies might be working. Rather than immunotherapy pumping up the T cells in the tumor, T cells in the lymph nodes are likely the source for T cells circulating in the blood. Such circulating cells can then go into the tumor and kill off the cancer cells. Having shown that intact lymph nodes can temper cancer's hold in place, researchers wanted to know the same would prove true in human patients. They chose to design a trial for patients with head and neck cancers because of the high number of lymph nodes in those areas. The trial enrolled 12 patients whose tumors hadn't yet metastasized past the lymph nodes. Typically, such patients would undergo surgery to remove the tumor, followed by other treatments, if recommended. Instead, patients received a single cycle of an immunotherapy drug called atezolizumab. A week or two later, the research team measured how much of the treatment activated the patient's immune systems. The treatment also included surgically removing each patient's tumor and nearby lymph nodes after immunotherapy and analyzing how the immunotherapy affected them. The team found that after immunotherapy, the cancer-killing T cells in the lymph nodes began springing into action. They also found higher numbers of related immune cells in the patient's blood. Research attributes some of the trial's successes to its design, which allowed the team to get a lot of information from a small number of patients by looking at the tissue before and after surgery and running detailed analysis. As being able to collect the tissue from surgery shortly after the patients had been given the drug was a really unique opportunity. They were able to see at the cellular level what the drug was doing to the immune response. That kind of insight would be challenging to get from a more traditional trial in patients with later stage disease who would not typically benefit from undergoing surgery after immunotherapy. Another benefit of the study design was that it allowed researchers to compare how the treatment affected lymph nodes with and without metastasis or a second cancer growth. No one had looked at metastatic lymph nodes in this way before. Researchers could see that these metastases impaired the immune response relative to what they saw in the healthy lymph nodes. It could be that the T cells in these metastatic nodes were less activated by the therapy. If so, that could explain, in part, the poor performance of some immunotherapy treatments. And still, the therapy promoted enough T cell activity in the metastatic lymph nodes to consider leaving them in for a short period of time until treatment ends. Removing lymph nodes with metastatic cancer cells is probably still important, but taking them out before immunotherapy treatment may be throwing the baby out with the bathwater. A subsequent goal of the current trial is to determine whether giving immunotherapy before surgery protects against the recurrence of tumors in the future. Researchers won't know the answer to that until they've had a chance to monitor the participants for several years. The hope is that they can activate a good immune response before the tumor is taken out. All of those T cells will stay in the body and recognize cancer cells if they come back. Next, the research team plans to study better treatments for patients with metastatic lymph nodes using drugs that would be better effective at reactivating their immune response. And this is the Professor of Microbiology, Bioinformatics, and Pathophysiology. This video was created for educational purposes only. Hope you enjoyed listening. Until next time, have a great day.